30 minutes earlier, Suho had noticed the sand coming from the gate, realizing the source. Essel acknowledged this with a simple understanding. Suho reflected on the situation, surprised to find a desert-type dungeon. Beru mentioned sensing powerful mana coming from the pyramid. Suho questioned why there were things like cars and barbed wire fences in the dungeon, things that shouldn't exist according to what he had heard about dungeons, especially since machines typically didn't work inside them. Essel suggested that maybe this place wasn't a typical dungeon, or perhaps they had crossed into a world line where such things were possible. However, Beru disagreed, asserting that couldn't be the case. Suho decided that as long as the original gate remained in the Shadow Dungeon, there shouldn't be any issues. He planned to check it quickly. Essel agreed, stating that it was indeed best to verify. Suho walked through the gate, and Essel, waiting anxiously, asked how it was. Suho replied that the gate was gone. The man was shocked. Suho's team outside the C-rank dungeon wondered if the gate disappearing meant the boss was dead, but since he hadn't come out yet, they decided they needed to contact the emergency line quickly. Inside the pyramid, Suho observed the people around him. He thought to himself that it was a relief to see others here. Those must be the ones who drove the cars. As he listened to their speech, he wondered if he had ended up in a different country, noticing that they were speaking English. Suho asked where he was, silently thankful that he had studied some English while preparing for college. Rio, noticing Suho, commented that a hunter had arrived, wondering if even the East was here to claim ownership of the dungeon, not just the Scavengers Guild. Randolph found the situation troublesome, noting the overwhelming number of intruders gathering in the area. His mind drifted to a prophecy he had once heard, an omen foretelling that a life born of death, emerging from a shattered seal, would appear at a tomb with the power to raise the dead. Not long after that prophecy was spoken, a pyramid field-type dungeon had manifested in Egypt. The connection between the tomb, the pyramid, and death felt too precise to be a coincidence. Meanwhile, a man issued orders to secure the dungeon, intending to conduct his raid once his business was complete. When questioned about handling interference from other guilds, a figure, shrouded in darkness, dismissed any hesitation, expecting the matter to be handled in the ruthless manner characteristic of the Scavenger Guild. Randolph addressed the newcomer, making it clear that if he was a hunter seeking to claim the dungeon, this would be his final warning. Suho processed the information, realizing that this place was indeed a dungeon. Randolph then issued an ultimatum, stating that if the intruder left immediately, he would be spared. Suho assessed Randolph's aggressive stance, realizing that if this place was indeed a dungeon, he had no choice but to conquer it in order to complete the urgent quest. Without hesitation, Randolph swung his massive hammer and launched an attack towards Suho. Essel and Gray watched in shock as the battle unfolded, while Rio was equally stunned by the sudden escalation. Randolph swung his hammer with a serious expression, his eyes filled with determination. Suho swiftly dodged the attack and countered with a powerful punch to Randolph's body. As Suho struck, he assessed the impact, uncertain of the damage he would inflict due to his not increased strength. His punch landed against Randolph's armor, making him wonder if it was enough to avoid a fatal outcome. Randolph's face twisted in pain before he retaliated with a punch of his own. With anger surging through him, he commanded his forces to attack, ordering the Asura Guild to eliminate both Suho and the Asian man, leaving no one alive. Essel stepped forward, furious at the attack on the young monarch. Rio, realizing that conflict was inevitable, prepared for battle. Beru quickly checked on Suho, concerned for his well-being. Suho reassured him that he was fine, though he recognized that hunters would have to fight each other in order to clear the urgent quest. Winning the battle seemed to be the only option. Beru acknowledged that the fight was necessary for the raid's success. Suho, now certain of his opposition, identified the guild of the armored man who had attacked him as his clear enemy. Suho moved swiftly, dashing forward before leaping 3 times into the air. From above, he launched a powerful kick at the hunter, shattering his helmet upon impact. The hunter staggered back, momentarily stunned, before regaining his composure. Despite the damage, he remained defiant, astonished that a supposedly weak hunter had dared to stand against the scavenger guild. Suho hesitated for a moment, realizing that his attempt to knock the hunter out had failed. His opponent had withstood the attack, showcasing an incredible level of durability. Clenching his fist, Suho contemplated whether it would be acceptable to use the fighting techniques combined with ruler's authority, a skill he had only recently learned against a person. A lingering thought crossed his mind. What if he ended up killing him? Suho launched a punch toward his opponent, but before it could land, a sudden strike from a Deutsch sword intercepted the hunter he was targeting. The force of the attack sent the hunter crashing to the ground. Ryo, standing with his sword drawn, had been the one to intervene. Suho acknowledged his assistance with a nod of gratitude. Ryo, having observed Suho's earlier movements, noted the Deutsch hesitation in his attack. He questioned whether Suho was reluctant to take a life, reminding him that magical beasts weren't the only threats to hunters. If Suho wished to protect himself from dangerous individuals like lizards and false rankers, he would need to steel himself for the reality of battle. Suho questioned whether his resolve had truly been enough. He had believed he was prepared to risk his life in battle, but was that really sufficient? Until now, he had never felt the need to take out a life. Even when he fought the Hyena Guild, he had been able to hold back due to the overwhelming difference in skill. But how long would such favorable situations last? There would come a time when survival depended on killing, and moments when protecting something important would require taking a life. He realized that he would continue to face such dilemmas in this post-cataclysm world. Lost in his focus on leveling up, he had momentarily forgotten this harsh reality. The mindset he held before the cataclysm no longer had a place in this world. If he truly wanted to stand against Lee Min-sung, he would have to abandon his old way of thinking and embrace the ruthless nature of survival. Ryo introduced himself as a hunter from the Asura Guild, suggesting an alliance since both of them were in a difficult position because of the Scavenger Guild. Before he could finish, Suho's fist glowed with white light as he unleashed a devastating punch. Ryo was momentarily shocked, but the attack wasn't aimed at him. It struck a hunter standing behind him. The sheer force shattered the floor, sending the hunter flying across the battlefield. A notification appeared. Skill, Ruler's Authority, Level 2. The ability to physically control objects without touching them. Suho steeled his resolve, no longer willing to hesitate. Randolph observed the scene, his thoughts racing. Suho had nearly taken down a B-rank tank in a single strike. A smirk formed on Randolph's face. This was getting interesting. Without hesitation, Suho introduced himself. He was Suho from Korea, and he was ready to form an alliance.